Lava, grade 11 unit 7 lega so things that could be there. Impacts and passive. Impacts and passive so so Jibua Jare Jibua Jare is a galoni. Jibua Jare is a galoni. Pronounce it a pare. The choose a galoni people no. Hello Jibua Jare is a galoni net. But there be hello chini mugo, shadow about a passive form, don't know. Oh, you want to say alone is to be show the pronounce it. No, pronounce it. The shule, the pronounce in a Kuzabushi, the mule, pronounce in a Kuzabushi. Really, the pronounce in a don't a you want as you want as no Sharuzagaloni. You want an Zagaloni. Now, people, everyone, everybody, sadly, everything. Now, pay how Biomalamadi, to have a do Biomalamadi, you want an Zagaloni. I Zagaloni, and a Zagaloniness in a passive form, no, say, be like you in parts in the passive. In parts in the passive is used to report what is said by people or by generalization. Yeah, by people, by generalization. Now, in parts and passive is used to report. Now, the Charity Pokula Sunday, now passive Pondrango, Palace, Georgia to the Kamadone, Timbia to the Kamado Mare, Palace, Timbia. What is said by people or by generalization? No, Luriga Pure, a Jonia Chalet in a Pata video, or Timbia Lure Kama, no, people or Damamo. He was a Jonia in a Pata video, Timbia Lure, Yolure Kama, here, deform in person passive form only. We can avoid mentioning the generalization. No, any Hamilmare, Toria Palace, those waging, no, those waging Yida Jing, Shangjiame, Palace, the generalized agency. No, you want to is like a lonely. No, you want to is like a lonely. Palace of pronounce it or to the king. We, the people, everybody, one, everyone, no, etc. Now, any pronounce it, no, and I'm you want to is like a lonely, which Shangjiame, Yida Jing, Shangjiame. Both the reporting verbs such no, I know Piamino, no, Piamino reporting verbs, no, in it, see, think, snore, believed, hoped, report, find, etc. The manager, the thing as I would in it, by the virgins report, a report a speech, so direct speech and direct speech was she there, no, then you have a direct speech and direct speech go. Report speed report speech လို့ဘာလို့ဆိုတော့တနေရာမှာပြောကြားခဲ့တာကိုတနေရာမှာကြားခဲ့တာကိုအခြားတနေရာမှာပြန်ပြီးပြောပြတာအဲ့ဒါကို report speech တနည်းအားဖြင့်သူ direct speech နဲ့ကြားခဲ့တာကိုတစ်ဖက်တနေရာမှာ report ပြန်လုပ်တဲ့အခါမှာ indirect speech နဲ့ပြန်ပြီးတော့ report အဲ့ဒါကိုပြန်ပြီးတော့ရေးသားတာနော်တယောက်ကတနေရာမှာပြောကြားခဲ့တယ်သူကြားခဲ့တဲ့စကားတစ်ခုကိုနော် direct speech တစ်ခုကိုပြန်ပြီးတော့ရေးသားတာကိုဘာလဲဆိုရင် direct indirect speech လို့ခေါ်တယ်နော်အဲ့ဒီမှာကြည့်အောင် say တို့ think တို့ know တို့ believe တို့ hope တို့ report တို့ find တို့ etc. we can use the following passive pattern အဲ့ဒီဆိုရင်လည်းဆိုတော့နော် passive form passive pattern ကိုဘယ်လိုသုံးရမလဲဆိုရင်တဲ့ int int plus the passive form of the reporting verb နော်ကိုပြန် reporting verb တွေပြခုနကပြော see နော် see တို့ think တို့ know တို့ believe တို့ hope တို့ဒါ etc. verb ရှိအများကြီးရှိမှာပေါ့နော် request တို့လည်းပါမယ် ask တို့လည်းပါမယ် report နော်ဒါမျိုးတွေစကားလုံးဒီ verb တွေ reported verb တွေအဲ့ဒီ verb တွေကပါလဲဆိုရင် passive form ဖြစ်ရမယ်ပြီးရင် that clause that ရေးတယ်နောက်က what clause ကြီးတစ်ခုပါမယ်နော်အဲ့တော့ကြည့်အောင် example ကြည့်အောင် everybody knows that sorry everybody sorry everybody knows that the art is wrong เนาะအဲ့တော့ဆရာတို့ကခုန impersonal sorry, oh, sorry, generalized agents are about everybody. Now, generalized agents are around. Now, အဲ့ဒီနေရာတွေမှာအဲ့ဒီနေရာတွေဆရာတို့က ID8 နဲ့နာအစားသွင်းပြီးတော့သုံးခြင်းဖြစ်တယ်ဒီမှာကြည့်အောင် everybody knows that the earth is wrong နော်လူတိုင်းသိပါတယ်တဲ့ကဘာကြီးဟာလုံးဝနေဆိုတာလူတိုင်းသိတယ်အဲ့တော့ဆရာတို့ကဒီမှာသူ့ form ရနော်ဒီဆရာတို့ဗာလဲဆို generalization နော်အဲ့ကိုစားသုံး ID8 ပြီးရင်ဆရာတို့က passive ဒီဗာလဲ reported verb reporting verb ကဘာ knows reporting verb က knows ဟုတ်ပြီ passive form ပြောမယ်ဆိုရင် knows ကသူ့ရဲ့နော်ဒီမူရင်းနော်မူရင်း sentence ကတဲ့ဘာလဲဆိုရင် simple present tense knows နော်အဲ့တော့ passive ပြောင်းပြီဆိုရင်ဆရာတို့ဗာလဲ ID8 ကအနည်းဖြစ်တဲ့အတွက် it is ပြီးရင်ဆရာတို့က KNOW know ဆိုတဲ့ reporting verb ကို verb 3 past participle ပြောင်းတယ်နော် it's no ပြီးရင်ဆရာတို့ that clause ကိုရေးမယ် that the other is wrong အဲ့ဒါဆိုတော့နောက်က tense ကတော့ present ဖြစ်မယ်အဲ့တော့ကျွန်တော်တို့သတိထားရမှာကနော်ဒီ generalization ရဲ့နောက်က tense ကိုသူ့မူရင်း tense ကိုလည်းကြည့်ရမယ်နော်မူရင်း reporting verb ရဲ့ tense ရဲ့နောက်တစ်ခုက that clause တွေမှာပါတယ် tense ရဲ့တူညီရမယ်နော် tense တွေတူညီရမယ်ဟုတ်ပြီအောက်ကကြည့်အောင် they thought that the exam questions were quite easy နော်ဒီမှာတို့ပါတယ်ဆို reporting verb က thought reporting verb က thought အဲ့မှာဆရာတို့ဗာလဲဆို generalization က they ဟုတ်ပြီ it နော်သူ past tense it ကအနေဖြစ်တယ်လို့ဆရာတို့က was it was thought ကသူ့ရဲ့မူရင်း sentence မှာ thought ဒီ past tense နော်အခုဆရာတို့ကနောက်ဆရာတို့က passive form ရရေးပြီဆိုရင် past participle thought ရဲ့ past participle thought verb 3နော်အပေါ်က verb 2နော်နော်သူ့ရဲ့ main verb က think နော် verb 1က think နော်သူ့ရဲ့မူရင်း sentence မှာတော့ thought verb 2အခု passive form ကြဆိုရင်နော် verb 3 thought it was thought that the exam questions were quite easy ဟုတ်ဒါတော့အောက်က exercise လေးကြည့်အောင် B တဲ့ rewrite the following sentences in the past impersonal passive beginning with it it as in the example နော်ဒါကပြန်ရေးပါအောက်ပါဝေချက်များကိုတဲ့ impersonal passive အနေနဲ့ပြန်ရေးပြီးပါဘာနဲ့စရမလဲဆိုရင်ဆရာတို့generalization တွေရဲ့နေရာမှာ ID8 နဲ့စမယ်ပြီးရင်ဆရာတို့reported ဆရာတို့ passive verb နော် passive verb reported verb တွေကို passive form ပြီးရေးပြီးပြောင်းပြရမယ် example လေးလည်းရေးထားပါတယ် people once believed that the sun revolved around the earth once တစ်ချိန်တစ်ခါနော်ဆရာတို့ကဒါအကျဉ်းနဲ့ပတ်သက်တယ်ဆရာတို့ပါလဲဆိုရင် adverb နော်တစ်ချိန်တစ်ခါ once နော် adverb ကြည့်မယ် it here believed ဒီ main မူရင်း sentence မှာ verb 2နော်အဲ့တော့ဆရာတို့က it was ပြီးရင်ဆရာတို့ adverb ဖြစ်တဲ့ once ကိုထည့်မယ်တစ်ချိန်တစ်ခါသူကတော့ advance of time အဲ့ဒါဆိုအချိန်ရည်အတွက်ကိုပြောတာအချိန်ရည်နဲ့ပတ်သက်တဲ့ adverb it was once believed above 3 no past participle that the sun revolved around the earth okay exercise လေးလုပ်ကြည့် number 1 they reported that the damage by the cyclone was severe နော်အဲ့တော့ဆရာတို့ဒီမှာဒီ sentence မှာဆိုရင်ဘာလဲဆိုရင် generalization က they နော် reporting verb က reported verb 2နော်အဲ့တော့ရေးမယ် it was reported that the damage by the cyclone was severe ဟုတ်နော် number 2 they say that learning Chinese is difficult it is sad SCID sad it is It's sad that learning Chinese is difficult. Number three, we expect that schools will be reopened next month. It it is it is expected that schools will be reopened next month. Number four, we learned that plant growth slows down beyond a certain age. It was it was learned that plant growth slows down beyond a certain age. Number five, some people thought that Tiger Woods is the best golf player ever. It was thought that Tiger Woods is the best golf player ever. Number six, Gina. People say that the president will give a speech at 10 a.m. It is said that the president will give a speech at 10 a.m. Number seven, we hope that our reforestation efforts will help protect forests. It is hoped that our reforestation efforts will help protect forests. Number eight, everyone believes that parents have the responsibility of teaching their children to be good citizens. It is believed that parents have the responsibility of teaching their children to be good citizens. Number nine, they expected that about 1,000 people would attend the conference. It was expected that about 1,000 people would attend the conference. Number 10, we already know that starting a new business is challenging and risky. It is already known. It is already known. It's already above. It is already known that starting a new business is challenging and risky. ဟုတ်ပါပြီဆရာတို့နော် Unit 7 ရဲ့ exercise နဲ့ပတ်သက်လို့ဆရာတို့ဒီမှာပဲကြံထားပါမယ်နောက်တစ်ခုဆရာတို့ Unit 8 Unit 8ကိုတွားကြည့်အောင် Next unit Unit 8ဒီ the last lived နော်နောက်ဆုံး last leave နောက်ဆုံးတည်ရွယ်နော်ပြောရရင်နော်ဒီအောင်ဒီသူပါလို့ဆိုလို့ရင်ဆိုရင်ဖတ်ကြည့်အောင် read the passage part 1 to Greenwich Village, which is a section of New York City. Many people came who were interested in art. That story did cool, no? Story did cool. They liked the bohemian life of the village, and they enjoyed living among so many artists. The buildings and apartments were often very old and dirty, but this only added to the interest of the place. ဆရာတို့ဒီမှာနော်ဘာလဲဆိုရင် compound sentence တွေ compound sentence ဆန်ဒီတကားနဲ့ဆက်ထားပြီးတွေ့ရတယ်နော် At the top of an old three-story brick house, Sue and John C. had their studio. One of them was from the state of Maine, the other from California. They had met in the restaurant of an 8th Street hotel. Both were artists who had recently come to New York to make their living. That was in May. In November, a cold and thin stranger who the doctors called pneumonia visited the city, touching one here and one there with his icy finger. He touched Josie, and she laid scarcely moving on a painted iron bed, looking through the small window at the blank wall of the opposite building. One morning, the busy daughter invited Sue into the hall. He has about one chance to intend to live. နော်ဒီမှာဒီဆရာတို့ direct speech လေးတွေပါလာတယ်နော် direct speech လေးတွေပါလာတယ်နော်သူနေရဖို့ဟာတဲ့သူအသက်ရှင်နေနိုင်ဖို့ရာ10ရက်လောက်ပဲရှိတော့တယ်နော်ဒါလေးကဆရာဒါကြားပြက်ကလေးပါနော်ဒီလိုပဲ she has about one chance to intend to live နော်သူအသက်ရှင်နေထိုင်ဖို့ရာ10ရက်လောက်ပဲနေလို့ရတော့မယ် he said as he shook down the mercury in his clinic thermometer. And that one chance depends upon her desire to get better. But our little friend has made up her mind that she is going to die. သူက10ရက်ပြီးရင်တော့သူကတည်တော့မှာ Is she worrying about something? Next, direct speech lead. She wanted to paint a picture of Bay of Naples someday. Sad Sue. No, something more important. Even pipes. No. Well, perhaps it is a result of her fever and her general physical weakness. But when a patient begins to feel sure that she is going to die, then I subtract 50% from the power of medicines. If you can succeed in making her interest in something and asking for instance about the latest designs in women's clothes, then I can promise you 1 to 5 chance for her instead of 1 to 10. After the daughter had gone, Sue went into her own room and cried. Later, trying not to show her sadness, she went into Josie's room whistling. Josie lay under the bed clothes, with face towards the window. Sue stopped whistling, thinking Josie was asleep. But soon, Sue heard a low sob, several times repeated. Sue went quickly to the bedside. Johnson's eyes were wide open. She was looking out of the window and counting backwards. 12, she said, and a little later, 11, and then 10 and 9, and then 8, 7. Okay, part 2. Sue looked out of the window. What was Johnsey counting? There was only a gray backyard and the blank wall of the opposite house. An old vine, dead at the roots, climbed halfway up the wall. The cold breath of autumn had blown almost all the leaves from the vine. Under its branches were almost bare. What is it, dear? asked Sue. 6, said Jonesy very quietly. They are falling faster now. 3 days ago, there were almost a hundred. It makes my heart itchy to count them, but now it's easy. There goes another one. There are only 5 left now. 5 what, dear? Tell me, said Sue. Leaves. The leaves of that vine. When the last leaf of နောက်ဆုံးသိရ When the least love of that vine falls. ကြည့်ကြပြီဆိုတော့ I must go to. I've known that for 3 days. Didn't that daughter tell you? Next paragraph. The daughter didn't say any such thing. That is pure foolishness, said Sue. What connection have those old leaves with what you're getting war? And you used to love that old wine so much. Please don't be silly. Please don't be silly. The doctor told me, entire speech part, no, report speech part. The doctor told me this morning that your chances of getting well soon were excellent. Now try to take the sum of your soul and let me get back to work so that I can make money to buy you some good port wine. There's no use buying any more wine, said Jonesy, keeping her eyes fixed on the blank wall of the house opposite. There goes another leaf. That leaves just four. I want to see the last one for before it gets dark. Then I'll go too. Jonesy, dear, said Sue, bending over her, will you promise to keep your eyes closed and not look out of the window until I have finished working? I must deliver these drawings tomorrow. I need the light. Otherwise, ဒီမှာဆရာတို့ဘာလဲဆိုရင် compound sentence နဲ့နော် semicolon otherwise I would pull down the curtain. Can't you draw in your room? Said Jonesy coldly. I'd rather stay here with you, said Sue. Besides, I don't want you to keep looking at those silly leaves. Tell me as soon as you have finished, said Jonesy, closing her eyes and lying quite still. Because I want to see the last leaf fall. I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of thinking. Try to sleep, said Sue a little later. I must go downstairs for a minute to get Mr. Bama, Bama, who is going to sit as my model. But I will be right back. And don't move, and also please promise me not to look out of the window. Or Mr. Berman. Berman was a painter who lived on the first floor beneath them. He was more than 60 years old. Berman was a failure in art. He had always wanted to paint a masterpiece, but he had never yet begun to paint it. For many years he had painted nothing except now and then just something in the line of commercial or advertising work. He earned a little money by serving as a model for those young artists who could not pay the price for regular models. He drank much whiskey, and when he was drunk, he always talk about the great masterpiece he was going to paint. He was a fierce, intense little man who considered himself as a watchdog and protector for the two young artists living above him, of whom he was very fond. Part 3. Sue found a Batman in his poorly lighted studio. In one corner of the room stood a blank canvas which had been waiting for 25 years to receive the first line of the promised masterpiece. Sue told him of the strange idea which Josie had concerning the last leaf, and Sue said that she feared that Josie would really die when the last leaf fell. Old woman shouted. Are there people in the world who are foolish enough to die simply because leaves fall from an old vine? အပြင်အိုကြီးကြီးကနေပြီးတော့တရွက်တွေကြာလာတဲ့အတွက်ကြောင့်တဲ့နော်လူတွေနော်တေလူမျိုးပါတီနော်အဲမမဲကြတယ် I have never heard of such a thing. Why do you permit such silly ideas to come into her mind? Oh, that poor little Miss Johnsies. She is very ill and very weak, explains Sue, and the fever has left her mind full of strange ideas. ဆရာတို့ direct speech တွေမှာ present tense တွေသုံးတယ်နော် present tense တွေသုံးတယ် simple present သုံးတယ် present perfect သုံးတယ် present continuous ဘာလို့ဆိုတော့အဲ့ဒီဒီ speech တွေပြောနေတော့ကျတော့ present ကိုအဲ့ဒီဥစ္စာတွေကိုပြန်ပြောကြကြမှာဆရာတို့ကဘာလို့ဆို past tense ဖြစ်ကုန်တာ story ကပြီးခဲ့ပြီဟိုနော် Josie was sleeping when they both went upstairs. Sue pulled down the curtain and motioned to Barman to go into the other room. There, they looked out of the window fearfully at the vine. Then they looked at each other for a moment without speaking. A cool rain was falling, mixed with snow. Barman took a seat and prepared himself to pose for Sue as a model. When Sue woke up the next morning, she found Josie's with dull, wide open eyes looking at the window. Put up the curtain. I want to see. Josie said quietly. Sue obeyed. But after the heavy rain and the strong wind, one leaf was still hanging on the vine. The last leaf, still dark green, it hung from branch some 20 feet above the ground. It is the last one, said Jonesy. I thought it would surely fall during the night. I heard the wind and the rain. It will fall today, and I shall die at the same time. Dear Jonesy, said Sue, placing her face close to Jonesy's on pillow. Think of me if you won't think of yourself. What shall I do? The day passed slowly, and even through the growing darkness of everything, they could see the lone leaf still hanging from the branch against the wall. And then, with the coming of the night, the wind began to blow again, and the rain began to fall heavily. But the next morning, when Jonesy commented that curtain were raised again, the leaf was still there. Jonesy lay for a long time looking at it, and then she called to see Sue. I've been a bad girl, Sue, said Jonesy. Something has made the last leaf stay there just to show me how bad I was. It was a sin to want to die. You may bring me a little salt now, and then put some pillows behind me, and I will sit up and watch you cook. An hour later, Jonesy said, "So someday I want to paint a picture of the Bay of Naples." The doctor came in the afternoon. "You are doing fine," he said, taking Jonesy's thin hand in his. "In another week or so you will be perfectly well. And now I must go to see another patient downstairs. His name is Berman. He is some kind of artist, I believe. Pneumonia too. He is an old, weak man, and the attack is very severe. There is no hope for him, but I am sending him to the hospital in order to make him more comfortable." The next day, Sue came to the bed where Josie lay. The daughter tells me that soon will be perfectly well again. Sue said, putting her arm around Josie. Josie smiled at her happily. Isn't it wonderful? Sue continued. But now I have something important to tell you. Old Mr. Bunman died in hospital this morning of pneumonia. နော်သေမယ်လို့ထင်မဲ့သူကမသေးပဲနဲ့နော်ဆရာတို့မသေးပဲထင်မဲ့လူကသေသွားတယ်နော်ဆရာတို့ဒီလူကြီးနော်ဒါအဖိုးကြီးဖြစ်တဲ့ဗမန်ကဆေးရုံမှာပဲ pneumonia နဲ့ဆုံးသွားတယ် He was sick only 2 days. They found him in his room the morning of the first day helpless with pain and fever. His shoes and clothing were completely wet and icy cold. They couldn't figure out where he had been on such terrible night. And then they found a lantern still lighted, and later, and some other things which showed that during the wind and the rain, he had climbed up and painted a green leaf on the wall of the house opposite. Didn't you think it was strange that the leaf never moved when the wind blew? Our darling, it was Berman's really masterpiece. He painted it there that night. သူရှာတို့ကတည့်ရပုံလေးနော်သူဆွဲထားခဲ့တာတဲ့နော်အဲ့ဒီဥစ္စာဘယ်တော့မှပြုတ်ကြတော့မှမဟုတ်ဘူးပုံဆွဲထားတဲ့ဟာဆိုတော့လေ lastly for နော်ဟုတ်ပြီဆရာတို့ဒီ story လေးဖတ်လို့ပြီးသွားပါပြီဆရာတို့ဟုတ်ပြီဒီအားနဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးတော့ဆရာတို့ explanation ကိုနောက်ပိုင်းဒီမှာဆရာတို့ဆက်ပြီးတော့သင်ကြားပေးသွားပါမယ်အားလုံးကျေးဇူးတင်ပါတယ်